Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, it's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I am here with a kind-hearted woman named Allie who agreed to let me share her session with you so that you could all benefit from it. Allie has done a couple of sessions before, did well with them, and then fell back a little bit, and so I thought it would be good for us to talk. So Allie, why don't you catch me up? What's been going on?
First of all, I didn't fall back a little bit. I went down the black hole, the rabbit hole, the whole thing.
Okay.
But actually, since last week when we talked about doing this session and you said that pig has to stay in the cage, since Thursday it actually has been. I've been doing like Whole30 style eating without no sugar, no flour, no wheat, no grains, no soy. I've been eating pretty clean and I feel much, much better. I don't know how I'm doing it. I don't know why I'm doing it. I feel like an alcoholic white knuckling it, but I haven't had any of that. It's been a good couple of days, but I don't know how the heck I'm doing it.
Well, what's really interesting there is that we all have the capacity to put the pig back in the cage. When we're in the midst of binging, it feels as if we're powerless, like there's some mysterious force that took over.
I always feel that way.
Yeah, but the truth is that when push came to shove and you decided you want to put it back, you put it back, right?
Right, exactly. For some reason, I just got tired of feeling crappy. And I just said, okay, not doing this anymore. I'm not listening anymore. And we're just going to stop all this nonsense. One of my biggest problems is just jumping from plan to plan. Like, okay, this isn't working and it's time to start something else. And I could do that 3 times in one day. And meanwhile, like I said, I'm eating cupcakes and Twinkies and garbage. But I feel like even though like this is like 5 days now, I feel like there's like the drum beats in the back of my head. Like I feel like more pressure. Like, okay, you've only lost 3 pounds in the last 5 days and you have these things coming up and you need to lose more. This isn't fast enough. It's not working. You have to change now. Even though I feel better, I'm sleeping better. I'm much less irritable. My mood is good. I feel better even just in a couple of days, but the pig is starting to talk to me like, okay, it's not working. It's not working. The scale isn't moving. You have to, by St. Patrick's Day, you have this big thing coming up and you have to lose 30 pounds and you forget all this and move on to something else. And I feel kind of like that tension building up where like getting harder just to say, okay, just shut up.
So you need to lose 30 pounds by St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah. Isn't that great? I think I have on my phone, I think I have about 20 days. So what is that, about 1.5 pounds a day? Yeah, sure. Why not? Right?
Okay. That's what the pig says. Okay, we'll come back to that. Do you have a really clear definition of what healthy eating is to you? Do you have a set of rules that you're trying to follow? How do you draw the line?
I think that healthy eating, I believe in the Whole30 paleo style of eating. I know that sugar is like very addictive to me and it sets me off. I have a hard time stopping once I start. Wheat and flour is very addictive to me. I have a hard time stopping once I start. Dairy makes me feel like crap. And when I get off of it, I feel much clearer and healthier. When I feel like I'm eating optimally, I'm not eating wheat, dairy, and sugar.
Okay, so no sugar. So flour is okay, but not gluten.
Right now, like when I'm eating Whole30, I'm not eating any kind of flours at all. Like I would eat like an almond flour or coconut flour, but no grain flour.
Okay, so no sugar, no grain flours or dairy. And how do you define sugar?
Sugar is any kind of like sugar, maple syrup, any kind of artificial sweeteners, anything other than like a fruit sugar. Like if I'm eating a fruit, that's fine. But the actual sugar that I'm adding, no, I'm not having that.
So, what I recommend for people is that they define sugar inclusively. So, you say that the only sweet taste I'll ever have in my diet are X, Y, and Z. So, it sounds like you're saying the only sweet taste you'll allow in your diet are whole fruit, berries, what else?
Like right now, I'm eating just meat, eggs, healthy fats like avocado, coconut, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. One thing I'm doing different this time, it's not really on the Whole30, is I really like hummus, and I don't think it really makes a difference to me. I don't think it's a negative in my diet, so I'm eating that.
Okay, so you've got a pretty clear definition of what's healthy and what's not healthy. So, it's been a couple of months since we talked. Can you go back to when things were working? How were you keeping the pig cage? What was it like? How long did that work for? Just kind of fill me in on all that.
When we first spoke, everything was like reframed for me, and I really understood the whole concept. And I was really able to listen and hear my own thoughts and what was going on. And it lasted like 10 days. For like 10 days straight, I just felt completely in control. It was such an odd feeling. I felt completely like I had no issue. I got this. It's fine. I can hear it. I can see it. And then I don't know what turned the tide for me, like what happened at that moment, but then it all kind of went downhill. I think it was okay, I can have just this and probably coffee because that was a big thing for me. But then it turned into everything. And then it was like months of just a real downturn. I was not able to catch myself at all for a while, and just put the pig back in the cage and just say, okay, I got this. I'm good. I'm back on track. And then we spoke again, and I actually felt better for a couple of days. When I can see my own thoughts and I can see like what's happening, it's all so clear to me. But then sometimes I go back into my day-to-day life and I lose that clarity, and I'm just right back into my habits.
Allie, what happens when you lose the clarity is you hear a squeal that says a little won't hurt. A little coffee won't hurt, or a little sugar won't hurt, or a little flour won't hurt.
Somebody said people don't give sugar the respect it deserves for how powerful it can be, like how a little bit can turn into a couple of months of being out of control, and like the binge factor on that.
There's a recent study which showed that it was more addictive than cocaine.
Yes. Just actually read a rat study that was done. I read the whole study and like what they did. And it was amazing what these rats would do, like stand on electrified floors. They took the rats and they first addicted them to the cocaine. And then they offered them cocaine and sugar. And they actually chose sugar over cocaine. And these were already cocaine addicted rats. The whole study was amazing.
Yeah, when you have those pathways, or when you're the kind of person who gets out of control with sugar, it's incredibly addictive. So the pig said a little won't hurt. Okay. What else did the pig say to get you off track?
I guess this is one of the biggest things for me. It's not fast enough. Nothing's going to work. This isn't really going to work. Even if I stick to it wholeheartedly and to the letter, it's never going to work. I'm always going to be heavy. It's not going to work. I'm not going to lose weight fast enough, and I'm just going to be stuck. Because there's always something coming up. There's always something. It's always a holiday, a vacation. Oh, well, I have to go on vacation in 2 months. If I stick to this plan, I'm not going to lose enough weight in 2 months to feel good. So forget it. Let's just try something else. But all the while, I'm eating garbage. So right now, my thing is I have this St. Patrick's Day thing. Some of my girlfriends are flying in, and we're going to Manhattan to do the pub crawl, and we got a hotel room for the whole weekend. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I have to lose 30 pounds. Oh, well, if I stick to Whole30 and I'm still eating potatoes and I'm still eating all these things and I'm actually eating, not fasting, and not going to work, and I'm only going to lose 5 pounds. And like my head just gets really, really tied up.
It won't work even if you stick to it. You can't accomplish your goal, so therefore don't even try.
Exactly. It's not going to work anyway.
The pig usually holds up an unrealistic goal, which won't work because nobody can really lose 30 pounds in 20 days.
I know that. I know. Realistically, I know that. Like you said, the pig holds up the goal and says, oh, 20, 30 pounds by St. Patrick's Day. You're never going to get that off, in 20 days following this. So let's just try something else, maybe something more extreme. And it takes away all the proof of success that you talk about also. Like when you're looking for the proof of success, like I feel better. I have my coffee consumption under control. I'm sleeping better. I'm more clear-headed. All these are positives, but nothing means anything because there's only 3 pounds gone on the scale, and whatever.
What would be a realistic goal? What would be a realistic goal by St. Patrick's Day? And that would be a realistic goal to lose the 30 pounds. When would you lose that by?
I don't know, 8 to 10 pounds maybe, because I've already lost 3. Okay, I could lose 5 more pounds. That would be realistic in 20 days, 25 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that. You could feel like you were going in the right direction, feel proud of yourself.
Right. But it's like I don't want to show up and see my girlfriends looking like this. So I'm like, oh, so I have to lose everything. These are girls that I've known for over 20 years. So I'm like, they know me through thick and thin. My head is like mental games. It's mental games.
What about calling them ahead of time and telling them that you gained a little weight? You don't want them to be shocked.
Well, I haven't gained that much that they'd be shocked. It's not a shocking amount.
They won't care, right?
I mean, if they saw me, I mean, nobody would be like, oh my God, I'm not that different, but I just feel like I should be better.
What would be a kind-hearted approach if you wanted to be kind to yourself and realistic and give yourself a goal that you could get through St. Patrick's Day and have a lot of fun with your friends?
What would be a goal that would be more realistic?
It sounds like losing about 5 pounds would be realistic. I'm wondering how you want to approach the social aspect of it.
It matters of being kind to myself. In other ways, take care of myself, like self-care things, like, before I go, just make sure my hair is done. There's other ways I think I can make myself feel better. Try to be happy in like the clothes that I'm wearing and maybe just lose some of these ridiculous expectations that I have. And also to understand that these are my friends. This isn't a job interview. I'm not meeting like the heads of other countries. This is my friends that I've known many, many years for the most part.
Yeah, the fate of the world doesn't depend upon this meeting, right?
Exactly. The state of the world does not depend on the size of my on St. Patrick's Day.
That sounds like a t-shirt. I'm going to get your t-shirt. The fate of the world is not dependent on the size of my.
Exactly. Exactly. The world is going to continue to turn. It will continue to turn. I promise.
Okay. What would it mean to you to stay on the plan and lose 5 pounds by St. Patrick's Day and talk to me what's going to happen in like 60 days or 90 days? What would it mean to you to do that? If you could really stay on. I know the pig says there's no way you can. It's not fast enough. You're always going to be a heavy person, but
If I did continue on as I have, I know that regardless of the number on the scale, I would feel better. So my whole outlook would be better. I would be probably nicer to be around. I would be happier. Another thing too, eating this way is much more peaceful. I feel much more peaceful. I probably just have a more laid back, peaceful feeling, and I would feel in control. That's another sticky thing. I'm going with my girlfriends, we're doing these things. If I want to have a couple of glasses of wine, I want to be able to do that without being afraid that I'm going to just totally lose it.
so when you say you'd be nicer to be around and less grumpy and you'd feel better, who would that be good for? Who do you want to be happy being around you?
I want to feel good about myself. So I want to be happy about how I feel. I want this peaceful feeling for myself, but also 100% benefits my kids. My friends, I'll be able to interact with them in a better way. And as I said, my kids and my friends and my family, it will be good for everybody. Mostly for myself. I like this peaceful feeling. It's not like I'm going to be sitting on the train for 2 hours eating a bunch of crap, which is what I would normally do with a coffee. And then I'm going to get there and I'm going to be like, my head's not going to be clear. So I'll be able to go and just be myself and the person that I am.
You have two daughters, if I remember correctly, two children.
I have a daughter that's 23 and then I have a 9-year-old.
One of them, if I remember correctly, has an eating problem herself, right?
See, now this is something I'm glad that we're talking about. My older daughter has weight issues. 100% feel guilty about because of how I had weight issues and I was a bad model. But now my younger daughter, my 9-year-old, she is starting to develop a problem and I'm really concerned about being a better model and trying to fix this. Not fix this, but just offer her better foods, just be a better model for her to see. I see now, the last couple of months, it's starting to become an issue. And it wasn't an issue the very first time I talked to you because I'm like, oh, yeah, my daughter, she's fine. It's no issue, I don't want it to become an issue, but it's not an issue. Now it's an issue. And I'm concerned.
Even at 23, your daughter is probably still impressionable. When they get a little older, they kind of solidify their identity and it gets harder to change people. But at 23, I think if she saw that you were changing, it can make a big difference. And certainly at 9.
It definitely would. It would.
Your mom kind of gave up, right?
My mom did. My mom, in every respect, gave up. I mean, like, she was a lifelong smoker. And at the end, she was very ill. And then she was in the hospital for a couple of weeks and they stabilized her. And she walked out of the hospital, and literally the very first thing that she did, she literally walked out of the hospital, didn't even make it to the car, and she was lighting a cigarette, and then she had COPD exacerbation, and she was back in the hospital 2 days later, and she died like a week later. The last couple of years of her life, she would not hear anything about stopping smoking or living more healthily or exercising, and anything that was lifestyle based. She would not hear word one about it. I mean, she would get upset, angry, leave me alone. I'm not interested in hearing about this.
Were you close with your mom?
I was extremely close with my mom. It was difficult, you know. And it's funny, when she was ill and she was in the hospital, and literally from beginning to end of her real illness, it was like maybe 2 months, I gained like almost 20 pounds in 2 months. I never lost that weight. I still have it. And it was just really, really horrible.
Ali, could I introduce a concept to you? And if it's too tender and you don't want to talk more about it, I really understand. Would that be okay?
That's fine.
What do you think about the idea that although the most natural thing to do is to take after our parents, especially if we love them, especially with the same gender parent, the most natural thing to do is to take after them, but the best way we can honor them is to accomplish what they couldn't, to kind of break the cycle and move beyond what they could do for themselves, change the family going forward in that way. What do you think about that?
That is the best way that you can honor them, because I don't think my mother wanted to be that way, you know?
I don't think she did either.
I think she would want me to do better.
She got caught up in the addiction with the industrial foods, and maybe her life was hard in a bunch of other ways, and she didn't really know there was another way, and she had been exposed to the culture, and she hadn't really been exposed to other options, and she didn't have enough support. It's all kinds of reasons there could be. It sounds like she was a good woman overall. It's just she got caught up with these addictions.
She was an interesting woman. She was a very strong person in a lot of ways. But, you know, when I would tell her I was going to the gym, she was like, going to the gym? Don't go to the gym. You're going to get hurt. You know?
Oh, no.
I'm the youngest of six, but her whole life, from the time she was young, she was very thin. I mean, she was small. She was like 5'2". She weighed like 100 pounds. And she was very small her whole life until she got into like her 40s. And then she put on some weight and never really seemed to bother her too much. But she thought that eating a bowl of Cheerios and not eating the rest of the day, or eating a bowl of Cheerios and then having a couple of cups of coffee and a roll and butter, she did good that day. Her concept of like what was good and what was bad to eat, or healthy or not healthy, there's a lot more understanding now of how your diet plays out and how sugar plays out. And like you said, she didn't have the understanding or the resources. And then she got caught up, and then she was very sick for many years. She had a quadruple bypass heart surgery, and she was sick, and then doctors had her on all these different medications. And like you said, she just got caught up in all that, and she just gave up and just came to accept that she was a smoker, and that was all she was going to do, and that was it.
Ali, would you like to honor your mom by breaking the cycle?
I would. I would like to end this because I want better for my own, and I know she would too. She loved my kids, you know?
Yeah. Let's talk just a little bit about what happens if you don't break the cycle. What happens if you let the pig keep convincing you that a little won't hurt and you should keep going because you're not going to lose weight fast enough and you're always going to be heavy and all those kind of things. What happens if you listen to the pig? What's life going to be like in St. Patrick's Day in a couple of months, in a year? What's going to happen?
There's a lot of heartbreak attached to that, because if I continue as I have been, I'm really setting myself up for a lot of heartache for myself and my kids, because I do not believe that I can continue this way long term and not suffer the consequences of getting sick, and also not living a full life with my kids. I mean, I have a perfect role model in my mother of what happens, because she slowed down. She was on medication. She was sick a lot. She wasn't active. She wasn't totally present. I have a perfect role model for that. And I don't want my kids to see me like that. I don't want to die young, you know?
Yeah, it's really critical.
And for them, my kids are already suffering the effects of not eating well.
Yeah, this is your opportunity. Good for you. I'm sorry. I know that's uncomfortable to talk about.
No, I'm uncomfortable crying because I feel bad. Like, oh my God, what am I sitting here crying?
You're crying for good reason, because the pig is stealing your life from you. It's harming your kids and it's preventing you from honoring your mother's memory. And I think you're crying for good reason. I have a lot of respect for those tears. I'm sure a lot of people are going to write in and tell you about that.
I appreciate that.
Maybe I'll work it out so you can see some of those comments.
I feel more for them my kids than even myself, because I feel like they're getting less of a parent in me, and I'm also setting them up to have a less full life. And food and lifestyle make a big difference in the fullness of your life.
Allie, it's all true and it's all reversible.
It is.
Yeah, especially now. It's kind of a limited window as kids get older, but especially now it's reversible.
It is. It's completely reversible. That if I'm able to keep control and keep the big cage and listen to voices and listen to what's being said and understand that it's not going to have to create my reality. It changes it for me and it changes it for them.
Yes. So let's talk about those pigs' voices now. Let's expose these to the light of day now that we have the full context of the emotions and motivation. Let's look at this. When the pig says just a little won't hurt, where's the lie in that?
The lie in that is that I've been here over 40 years and it always hurts. It always hurts. I don't know one time that I have listened to that and it hasn't hurt. So that is a lie. A little bit does hurt because it leads me down a path of a little becomes a lot.
It's like striking a match in a barn, right?
Right.
You've got all the right kindling and all the right pathways there to turn it into a big fire.
Exactly. I need to accept about myself that maybe somebody else can sit down and eat a piece of cheesecake or a big latte with the whipped cream and get up and feel satisfied and walk away and go about their lives. And I am not that person. And I need to accept that about myself, that maybe I have this predisposition to sugar and flour and these processed foods that set me off. I need to understand that, to surrender to that and accept to the fact that I'm not that person that can do it and walk away. And a little bit actually turns into a lot, and it leads down a very bad road for me.
For you, one bite is a tragedy.
It really is. Even if I take the bite and I say, okay, I took the bite and I walk away, it's not over, because by the end of the day, I'm in the cycle again. I may feel good about myself, like, oh, I ate a bite of cheesecake and I was able not to eat the whole piece, but it's not over, because then the coffee comes and all the rest of it, and I'm in a downward spiral.
What about when the pig says that it's not fast enough? You need to lose 30 pounds in the next 20 days, so you might as well eat now and try something else tomorrow. Where's the lie in that?
This is like the hardest one. It really is. This is the one that messes my head up so bad. I know it's a lie because I am making progress. And if I was rational about it, I would see that, I lost 3 pounds in 4 days when someone else might be very happy with that. And good eating takes time. I didn't get to this size overnight. I'm not going to lose it all overnight. Being consistent is what is going to really turn the tide. If I'm able to just be consistent over time and just continue on and continue on, eventually I will hit my goals. So, and also the lie is also a year ago when I was having the thought that, okay, I'm on Whole30, but this isn't fast enough. I need to quit. If I had stuck to it a year ago, I'd be at my goal weight now. And I'm still not here, so the fast and slow has nothing to do with anything, because jumping from thing to thing is too slow, because I keep stopping my progress. I keep shooting myself in the and stopping my progress. It's actually the reverse, if you look at it. Jumping from diet to diet makes it too slow, because I'll lose 10 pounds and then I gain back 10 pounds and I lose 10 pounds, and that's the slow part. Sticking to something isn't slow.
Yeah, the answer to it is that it's fast enough. It is fast enough.
Fast enough means my goal weight by Friday.
It means a pound or two per week at most.
I don't want to do 2 pounds a week. I want to lose 10 pounds a week. I want to lose 15 pounds a week. I can't take 2 pounds a week.
Hell, you can. You have to. It's the only way.
I know. Ugh.
It's okay, because that means next week you'll be thinner than this week. Every day you'll wake up a little bit thinner.
And every day you wake up a little bit different.
You'll feel better and better every day. You can take note of the things that you feel better about also. You can sit and write them down.
I know. It's like I completely disregard that I feel better. Just overall as a person, as an organism, I feel better. I'm sleeping better. I'm not killing myself with coffee, and I'm not going from lows and highs of eating all this junk and then going into a low and then going up. And then it's only been a couple of days, which is really amazing, but I'm not constantly looking for food. Or what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat?
You're free of the mental obsession. All those things, yeah.
Right now I am.
Allie, you used to be a person who let their pig tell them that it wasn't fast enough. You used to be a person who disregarded all the positive effects that come virtually immediately when you start eating well and accrue day by day even better. You used to be a person who focused entirely on the weight, but you're becoming a person who focuses on consistency in the long term now and really enjoys all the rewards of the present. You're becoming a person like that. Would you be willing to change that language?
I agree with all that. I am. I am, because having said it out loud too, I mean, one thing that just struck me is that doing what I'm doing is actually slow.
Yeah.
When I say it's not fast enough, doing what I'm doing is actually what's keeping the brakes on. Because if I had just done it a year ago and stuck to it, I would be there already, which would mean it would be faster because I'm not there, right?
The pig is pretty pathetic, isn't it?
It really is. The stupid game. It really is.
When the pig says that it won't work even if you do stick to it, where's the lie in that?
It's not reality, because it actually does work. When I've done Whole30 for 30 days, it worked very well. I felt very good. I lost, a significant amount of weight that I was happy about. It actually did work. So I have real life experience, not even based on other people's experience. I have my own personal real life experience where it did work. How can you refute that? I can't even say, oh, it worked for you. It might not work for me. We're all not the same. It did work. You can't argue that. It did.
So when the pig says you'll always be heavy no matter what, where's the lie in that?
I don't know, because I think I really believe that. Oh, God.
How does that reconcile with the fact that it did work?
It doesn't.
It doesn't reconcile with that.
Glenn, you're really hitting up against my walls here. You got to do that.
I'm attacking your pig with full force atomic bombs here.
You really have to bring rationality and truth and light to these things. Come on now.
Your pig is going to miss the slop.
Totally.
That's why I won't let you be rational about it.
It's just totally going to miss it.
It doesn't want to starve.
It doesn't, because every single minute, even before this phone call, I was sitting there and I've been doing good for 5 days. Everything's okay. I feel okay. I'm sitting there going, well, maybe after the phone call, I can treat myself and I can have this and that. And then I can start again. That's irrational, because you know what I'm going to start? I'm going to start eating like crap again. That's what I'm going to start.
What would you think about enjoying the pig suffering? What would you think about really getting off on depriving the pig of eating after the phone call and depriving the pig of all of the irrationality of its traditional excuses and just enjoying how much you're making it suffer? It made you suffer all these years, certainly setting up your children to suffer. Why don't we make the pig suffer instead?
I hadn't really thought about it that way, but you're right. One good turn deserves another. Let it take this instead of me.
Yeah, it's got these cravings, poor thing, poor pig.
Poor pig.
What about the wine? What do you want to be able to do with wine? What role do you want wine to play in all this?
I'm not a big drinker at all. If I go out to dinner, I like to have a glass or two of wine. I don't feel that that's the pig. I feel that that's me, a social thing that I enjoy. And I know that with my girlfriends, we're probably going to go to some places. We're going to go out for a nice dinner. We're going to have fun. And the problem with wine is that, usually I'm like a 2-glass maximum. But if I drink 2 glasses or 3 glasses, all of a sudden the other stuff starts looking better, which makes me nervous. I'm like, I want to be able to drink it, but I don't want having the wine to turn into a 3-day, 5-day, 6-month frenzy of eating,
What would you think about having one glass just for the first month or so until you establish these new patterns? What would you think about that?
I was thinking that myself. That might be the right thing to do. I think I'm fine with 1 glass. It's when it starts getting to like 2 or 3 that it becomes more of an issue. But 1, I should be fine with that. I think that 1 would be okay.
1 glass per calendar day, right?
Yep. I don't even drink every week. Sometimes I'll have like 2 glasses in 1 week, and sometimes I won't have any.
I don't think you have an alcohol problem, but I think that the alcohol can loosen up your inhibitions with food.
It totally does, because that's exactly what happens. Because when I do drink, everything else starts to look better. Like, oh yeah, let's have some chips with that. Oh, let's get the appetizers. Everything starts to look better.
You lose your rationale. Your impulses start to look stronger, look more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
How confident are you that you're never going to binge again?
I feel really confident right now. I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Right now, I feel able to say I'm not going to binge again. I'm never going to binge again. I feel good about the control that I have, and pig is caged, and I'm not going to binge again. But in the back of my mind somewhere, the pig is saying, the other shoe's going to drop. It's going to drop, and we're going to be right back where we were. Shut up,
That's a time machine squeal, right? That's the pig telling you that you're okay now, but it's going to get you in the future.
Yeah, exactly. You may have control of the body right now, but just wait. I'm here. I'm waiting, laying in wait, rattling the cage.
And do you know how to handle those type of squeals? Do you know what the time machine squeal is?
No, what's the lie in the time machine?
The lion, the time machine squeal is, first of all, the pig is pretending to have a time machine, and none of us know what's going to happen in the future. What we do know is that it's always going to be now. In the future, it's still going to be now. As I'm talking, as I'm finishing these words, it's still now, right? The pig says that it's attacking you in the future, but really its goal is to get you to say that it's fruitless now, so you might as well binge now. But if you never binge now, because it's always now, you're never going to binge again. So you can turn around to the pig and say, I know you don't have a time machine, and I never binge now. It's always going to be now, so you can't get me. All you have to do is never binge now.
I got that. I really did. I just got that. Wow.
That's how you push the pig's attack out of your mind. And that's all you have to do. You got to push it out of your mind now.
Now. I don't have to push that out of my mind 6 months from now or 2 months from now or 30 days from now. Now. I'm never going to binge again now. And now is all we have is now.
That's all you got to do.
It's always now. Now is now. Hey, it's now.
That's your bumper sticker. We got you a t-shirt and a bumper sticker out of this interview. Well, how confident are you that you're never going to binge again?
I'm not going to binge again. I'm not going to binge again. I'm 100% confident I'm not going to binge again. I'm not going to bring this down on myself and my family. I'm not going to binge again.
Even if your pig has other ideas?
Even if my pig has other ideas, I'm not going to binge again. I'm not going to do the time machine. I realized two very important things this call is that my whole not fast enough thing, I know this is the third time I'm talking about it, but my whole not fast enough thing actually is the complete freaking opposite, because this is me just shooting myself in the foot over and over again, which is actually slowing me down, not speeding me up. And that whole now thing, that never binging again, is now. Now is now, and I'm never going to binge again, and all we have is right now. So regardless of what the pig says about 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 1 month from now, or tomorrow, I'm never binging again now.
There you go. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you too. This is wonderful.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.